Hello friends! The basic versions received a 300 horsepower, naturally aspirated 3.6-liter V6 petrol. Cayenne S and GTS received a 4.8-liter 8-cylinder aspirated engine that develops 400 and 420 horsepower respectively. After restyling, the place of the 8-cylinder aspirated was taken by a turbocharged V6 3.6, 420 horsepower S, and 440 horsepower GTS. The top versions of the Turbo and Turbo S were equipped with a turbocharged V8 4.8. Before restyling, they developed 500 and 550 horsepower respectively, and after, 520 and 570 horsepower. The weakest was the Diesel Cayenne with the designation Diesel, 245 horsepower. It was powered by a V6 3.0 TDI from Volkswagen. At the beginning of 2013, the diesel range was diluted by S-Diesel with an 8-cylinder 4.1 TDI, 382 horsepower. The base V6 is an analog of the atmospheric 6 Touareg. This engine is one of the most reliable engines in the range. The crankcase ventilation valve built into the oil separator requires periodic attention. Sometimes it is necessary to eliminate fluid leaks through the valve cover gaskets, intake manifold, or cooling system valve. A number of owners complain about a noticeable vibration when the engine is running in the range of 1,000 to 1,500 RPM. Recommendations for replacing the power unit supports and overcooking the exhaust system resonator do not always help. The 3.6 bi-turbo was based on a 3-liter unit from Panamera of Porsche's own design. The working volume was increased due to the piston stroke, which increased from 69 to 83 millimeters. Unlike the atmospheric 3.6, the turbo engine is completely aluminum without cast iron sleeves. Therefore, he is not immune from the appearance of scoring on the walls of the cylinders. But in reality, such cases are still rare. If scuffing is detected, it is necessary to change the cylinder block, since its sleeve is impossible. V8 with direct fuel injection is made entirely of aluminum. The engine is Porsche's own design. The naturally aspirated and bi-turbo versions of the V8 4.8, like its predecessor in the 957, are prone to scuffing on the cylinder walls. However, real cases of detection of a defect are not yet so large scale. Some samples have driven over 250,000 kilometers without any problems. Regular flushing of radiators, timely replacement of engine oil, and gentle loads until fully warmed up will help to avoid costly repairs. Before restyling, phase shifters became the subject of attention. Aluminum bolts broke off. Among the recurring flaws, one can note the failure of the ignition coils after 100 to 150,000 kilometers. And after 150,000 kilometers, the plastic H-shaped tube of the cooling system dries up and collapses. The 3-liter turbo diesel from VAG is quite reliable. However, after 100,000 kilometers of run, sometimes earlier, high costs cannot be avoided. The engine starts to leak cool. Leaks occur through valve covers, sump, timing chain cover, front and rear crankshaft oil seal. The heat exchanger can also leak. Antifreeze is found in the collapse of the block. Most leaks require resealing of the engine. To do this, it must be dismantled. Not all owners are ready to shell out such amounts, so they often ride, delaying repairs to the last. sometimes let down the chain tensioner, crumbled. The timing chain is located on the gearbox side. Fuel injectors typically last over 200,000 kilometers. The V8 is familiar to many from the Audi A8, Q7, and Touareg. For all models, he was going to the Audi plant in Hungary. The Porsche 4.1 TDI features higher boost pressure and a more efficient intercooler. Unlike a 3-liter turbo diesel, it does not force you to deal with numerous leaks of working fluids. Only occasionally there are interruptions in the turbocharging. The reason is the wear of the plastic gears of the actuator. The actuator can be replaced separately, despite the fact that in the original, it comes complete with a turbine. The S Hybrid is powered by a combination of a 6-cylinder 3.0 TFSI petrol, 333 horsepower, with a mechanical compressor and a 3-phase synchronous electric motor, 34 kilowatts or 46 horsepower. The energy storage, nickel metal hydride battery, is located at the rear of the vehicle. The stock of electric travel is about 2 kilometers, and the maximum speed of movement on electric traction is 60 kilometers per hour. The S in the name of the Cayenne S Hybrid means that the dynamic performance must match the 8-cylinder Cayenne S. The hybrid version received electrified auxiliary units, an air conditioning compressor, a power steering pump, and a vacuum pump. This allows you to maintain the performance of systems when the internal combustion engine is turned off. After restyling, the S E-Hybrid came to replace the plug-in concept. In other words, with the ability to charge the battery from the outlet. The electric motor began to develop 70 kilowatts, 95 horsepower, and a more powerful lithium-ion battery was used as a drive. The range on electricity is up to 36 kilometers, and the maximum speed is up to 125 kilometers per hour. 3.0 TFSI, until the end of 2013, suffered from scuffing on the cylinder walls. At the end of 2013, the spraying was intensified, but incidents still occurred. In 2015, the disease was completely eliminated with the help of cast iron sleeves. A manual gearbox could only be installed in basic versions with a petrol 3.6, but these cars are not available for sale. The rest of the crossovers, except for hybrid ones, were paired with an 8-speed automatic developed by Aisin. The TR80SD automatic transmission version is very tenacious. Repairs are rare. The main thing is to regularly update the oil in the box, every 60,000 kilometers. Many owners are confused by Porsche's recommendation to change the transmission fluid for the first time at 240,000 kilometers. It's too late. Hybrid versions use a PDK robotic gearbox. Its weak point is the clutch block. Only diesel and hybrid Cayennes were equipped with permanent all-wheel drive, with a Torsen self-locking center differential, as in the Touareg. In this combination, the moment between the axles is distributed in a ratio of 40 to 60. In petrol versions, the front axle is connected using an electronically controlled multi-plate clutch, as in the Panamera. Under normal conditions, the front wheels get only 10% of the traction. If necessary, the clutch is blocked completely. Nevertheless, the gasoline Porsche feels confident both on difficult terrain and on virgin snow. For a surcharge, the SUV could be equipped with a PTVP rear differential with an electronically controlled lock. The system breaks the inner wheel in corners and increases torque on the outer wheel. The front gearbox could make noise after 100 to 150,000 kilometers. The defect is typical, first of all, for pre-styling samples. In gasoline versions, sometimes the transfer case failed. There were jolts. Sometimes jerks disappeared after updating the transmission fluid. On the front axle, each wheel has a pair of wishbones. A multi-element scheme is used on the rear axle. The suspension could be either conventional, on steel springs, or pneumatic, standard for turbo versions. PASM electronically controlled shock absorbers and PDCC roll suppression were optionally available. The silent blocks of the front and rear levers can become unusable after 80 to 120,000 kilometers. The ball joints of the front levers are much more tenacious. They change in assembly with levers. The pneumatic system in general is considered reliable and durable, although not without some shortcomings. For example, over time, the air struts began to knock. Sometimes the defect could be eliminated by replacing the shock absorber mounts. In other cases, a bulkhead or replacement of air struts helped. Air bellows usually last a long time. The front ones reach up to 200,000 kilometers, but the rear ones could start to etch a little earlier. In winter frosts, interruptions in the operation of the system are sometimes observed. Freezing moisture is usually to blame. Prolonged neglect of problems with the pneumatic system accelerates the wear of the compressor. The flagship versions of the Turbo S were fitted with PCCB carbon ceramic brakes with 10-piston front calipers and 4-piston rear calipers. Carbon brakes have a lot of endurance and do not lose effectiveness with frequent braking from high speeds on the racetrack. For everyday living environment, conventional brakes are enough. The body iron of the Porsche Cayenne has not yet been bothered by corrosion problems. The hood, front fenders, and tailgate are made of aluminum. Many owners complain about fogging headlights. Easily removable headlights are a tasty morsel for negligent citizens who crave easy money. It is noteworthy that in hybrid versions, due to the lack of a headlight, the power steering stops working. Some companies offer anti-theft kits for optics with self-tapping screws or cables. True, in this case, an attempt to take possession of the headlight often ends in damage to the hood, fender, or bumper. After 100 to 150,000 kilometers, electric trunk lid shock absorbers are rented. After 150 to 200,000 kilometers, door locks may malfunction. With age, chrome flies off the power window buttons, and sometimes the buttons break off completely. Over time, drainage holes become clogged in the area of the rubber plugs located behind the lockers, wing fenders. This is the main reason for the sudden appearance of water in the legs of the driver or front passenger. In a neglected case, water can get on the engine ECU, fuse box, or stove motor. If you know of other model malfunctions, be sure to write about it.